all 12 of the next-gen Master Set items have been released, and in this video, we are going to rank them in a tier list. I'm also going to talk about everything you need to know about the event, and then the potential upgrades in the future, as well as the cost comparison to investing in some of the more expensive ones right now. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing that we need to discuss is the fact that these sets will last for another 3 weeks since the second launch of the Master Set items. It is not like the prior events where once the week is done, the new events comes out, and then you are no longer able to make the sets. EA heard the entire community complain about this, and they are at least giving us a extended period when a new event comes out and the next gen event is over to retroactively then go back and make these Master Set items, which is obviously a big W. Should have never been a restriction in the first place, and honestly, we should not even have a timer of these. We should be able to make the MSPs through the entire year like we could last year. That being said, we also need to talk about the 287 overall items in Mathew Barzal and Capriso because they are much more expensive. It is going to require you to trade in 286 and above next-gen items, so any of the 86 Master Set player items like Macklin Celebrini, Cutter Gauthier, Lane Hudson. You will need to trade in 2 of them to make one of the 87s. That is an extremely expensive set to do, obviously, and unfortunately, they don't use B&D correctly here, and they don't offer us to at least get an account-bound player back. Now, in my event videos, I break down how to actually go and make these player items for the cheapest way possible, and EA did a pretty good job at giving us enough resources via objectives and moments and wildcard to at least make a Master Set player item without having to invest a ton of cost, whether it be our own collection or coins. And if you took advantage of week 1's objective path, as well as week 2 by just passively getting this finished with a few next-gen items in your lineup, you should be able to get enough resources to at least make one for free without having to invest your own coins or collection. So again, if any of these players interest you, make sure you take advantage of the objectives, as well as the HUT moments, because it will give you more 79 overall players, an 81 and an 83. Again, some of these might be difficult for some players because they are on a harder difficulty, but it is worth it to invest some time because you get a free 83 overall next-gen player item for finishing the Macklin Celebrini moment, which again shaves off a ton of cost for you. That being said, let's get into the tier list for all 12 of these Master Set player items, starting with the theme team list. These are players that I would only make or go after if I was trying to build a theme team. Number 1, pretty easy, the 86 Jesper Wallstedt, one of the best goalie prospects in the world. However, at 6'3", that's not elite size in-game, and his speed rating of only 81 is on the lower end, so he is not going to be an impactful goaltender right now, and again, goaltending just really doesn't matter, so investing this much of your resources into it, again, only if you're making a theme team. A perfect example of this is the 86 Yaroslav Askarov, who is also in the theme team tier. Again, for a goaltender to not be in the theme team list of an event, he has to be absolutely incredible when it comes to size as well as attributes. Now, Askarov is better than Wallstedt in my opinion, simply because they are roughly the same size, and he has 86 for a speed rating, as well as no timer. Obviously, we know that D2D one-timers are extremely overpowered, and at least this will help a little bit with it. But nonetheless, I myself am building as many Sharks players as I can. Askarov is obviously the future of my favorite franchise, so I'm excited to get him, but if you are not a Sharks fan, then I would not go after Askarov. Next in the theme team list, Logan Stankoven. Now, smaller players are much more usable this year than they were in prior games. At 5'8", 171, obviously, like in NHL 22 all the way to 24, completely useless. In NHL 25, they actually have quite a bit of run. It is very hard to knock anyone off the puck in this game. However, the issue here is that Stankoven, again, the cost is a lot for an 86 overall, and maybe you only get one free one. He's only got 80 endurance, and his skating isn't above 90. So if you're going to use a smaller player in your lineup, they need to offer something that is exceptional. Think about early on in the game, Cole Caulfield's base X factor was incredible, and that was because his skating was much higher than almost everyone in the player base outside of the big guys like Connor McDavid or Cale Makar. 89 speed is good right now. It's not great. He's only got 77 body checking. His face-off rating is only 82. He just doesn't offer anything exceptional, so he would be in the theme team list. Joining him is his teammate, Maverick Bourque. At 5'10", 191, again, a little bit bigger. However, gold tape-to-tape is just not worth the ability points in my opinion. There are far more impactful abilities, and if you use the button passing, you get pretty much all of the benefits of tape-to-tape already. He's got, again, good skating, but not great at 89 speed, 88 excel, 82 endurance, a little bit better than Stankoven. His shot is worse, and again, doesn't do anything exceptional. Even his defensive awareness at 82, meaning that he's not intercepting anything, and if you play him at center, that's an important thing to have. Moving on to the B tier. These are cards that are slightly better than theme team items, and they might be impactful now, but they're going to lose their longevity pretty quickly. We'll start with the 86 Cutter Gauthier. The reason here is that his ability in Big Rig is, again, one of the more useless ones in the game. And Power Forward is, again, just one of the worst synergies that you can have. It doesn't impact anything that is super important. He's got okay skating at 87 speed, excel, and 88 agility, only 81 endurance. He does have very good size at 6'2", 190, but again, his hand stats and his shot are just okay. Good body checking at 87 is nice, but he is a pure left-handed winger, not going to be able to play him at center, so that's why he is in the B tier. It pains me to say this, but also in the B tier is the 86 Macklin Celebrini. He's got playmaking forward, which is a pretty good synergy, but again, 88 speed, 88 excel, nothing crazy there. Does get into the higher agility at 93, and has 82 endurance. He's got an okay shot, 85 accuracy, 90 power. Okay hand stats, right around 90. Only 82 faceoffs and 83 defensive awareness. I think he got kind of rocked on his defensive abilities because in real life, he's quite good at that. Make It Snappy is better than Big Rig and some of the other abilities, but not nearly as impactful as years past. And he's not huge at 6', 190. Again, not a bad card. A little bit better than a theme team item, right in the B tier. Also in the B tier, the 86 Scott Morrow from the Hurricanes. At 6'2", 195, he does have good size. Offensive defenseman is a nice ability because, again, D-to-D one-timers are so prevalent, and he has a pretty good shot. 93 slap shot power, 85 accuracy, 87 speed, 88 excel, 90 agility. Again, the issue here, 81 endurance. This is going to be a major issue for a long part of the game because they've previously released some cards that have very good agility, especially the chase cards. So all these master set items that get tired after one rush, it's just very difficult to counterbalance that. His hand stats are mediocre, not that they need to be exceptional as a defenseman, but his body checking is only 85, so it's not elite, and it's his defensive awareness at 83 that make this card extremely dangerous. Again, you need your defenseman to be able to give you some chance at intercepting passes that are hucked right through the middle. 83 is not going to be very confident in the ability to do so. It's got good stick checking at 90, and Elite Edges is a great ability, but you're going to find it much more useful on defensemen that are a lot quicker, like Cale Makar, for example. I think is a fine defenseman, just not elite. All right, on to the A tier. These are cards that are not must-make, but among the best of the bunch, starting with Will Smith at 86 overall. Now, he does have playmaking forward, so his agility gets up to 95. His ability of Ankle Breaker, it has always been one of the worst since X Factors have become a thing since NHL 22. However, his extremely high agility rating at 95 make this card feel very shifty. I've made him and I played about 10 games and he has felt really good to use as a skater. He's got a great shot power at 93 across the board, and his skating at 88, speed 88 excel, again, not great, but it's okay. His hand stats are all above 90. The major issue here is that he is a right-handed winger, and there are so many elite right-handed wingers that we've gotten. However, if you want to make Will Smith, because you're looking for a right-handed winger, he has been very fun to use. Montreal Canadian fans will be happy, but in my opinion, Lane Hudson is in the A tier. I know it's kind of crazy because he is such a smaller statured player, especially on the back end, which is always an issue. At 5'9", 158, he's one of the smallest players in the game. Offensive defenseman gets his slapshot power up to 92, and gold elite edges to go with 93 agility is impactful. He's got 89 speed, 89 excel. The reason why I like Lane Hudson, I've gone up against him multiple times. Elite edges on this card, and I don't know if it's because it's on smaller player items, very hard to knock off the puck, and you're able to just get open at the top of the point, whether it's to continue the cycle or get open so you can send in a one-timer. His hand stats are all fantastic above 90. He's a complete liability in his own zone, but if you pair him with someone big, then you've got a really deadly combo. So in my opinion, I actually think Lane Hudson is in the A tier. Matvey Mitkov also comes in at the A tier. 5'10", 172, again, not great. This is the left-handed version of Will Smith, almost identical. He does have gold puck on a string, and I want to talk about puck on a string real quick. If you are in the higher end of the... If you are a higher end skilled player, puck on a string is actually quite useful. because as you get higher up into the ranks in online play, you are always protecting the puck going left and right stick handling. It's something in the lower divisions that you don't see a lot of, whereas puck on a string in that instance is not going to be as advantageous. Where you get the real advantages is, again, crossing the blue line, going left and right so that you're going forehand, backhand very fast, or even on breakaways, for example. You will find puck on a string to be useful. He's got okay skating, 88 speed, 87 excel, again, that 95 agility. So when you're curling in the corner, you're going to be able to do so very quickly. He's got a great shot, fantastic hand stats. So again, anyone looking for a left-handed winger, you would be safe with this Matvey Mitkov card. Joining them is the 87 Kirill Capriso. Very good card, extremely expensive. At a 90 speed, 89 excel, 92 agility. One of the best skaters from this event. However, again, his endurance kind of tanks that. He's got a very good shot with his accuracy being quite high. Deking boost, you're really not going to see activated for quite some time because you don't get a secondary synergy until you're into the mid to high 80s. So we won't start seeing lineups that have multiple of these synergies for quite some time. Goal Make It Snappy is good, not great like prior years in my opinion, and his hand stats are fantastic. Again, I just think that there are a lot of left-handed wingers that are much cheaper. Base Connor McDavid, I would rather have than Kirill Kaprizov, just as an example. And because of the cost as well, you have to take that into account. And then lastly, the S tier. The one card from this event that I think you would regret not making is the 87 Mathew Barzal. Essentially the fastest skater in the game. 93 speed, 93 excel, 94 agility. This is going to feel like base Connor McDavid at the launch of the game. When you get the puck with him, it's just going to be different. His shot is mediocre at this stage in the mid-80s, but his hand stats are all essentially touching the mid-90s. He's even got 83 faceoffs, which would allow you to play him at center. He's going to be much more valuable on the wing, but gold wheels on the fastest skater in the game is one of the best combos that you can have, because you're not going to see many players that have 93 speed, essentially just Cale Makar on defense. But when you have gold wheels, you don't get that debuff when you're carrying the puck. So you are getting 93 speed with the puck. That is such an advantage for right now, and because progression is so slow, you can have this card in your lineup till probably February and be completely okay with it. Now again, the cost is very, very expensive. So I want to talk about context, because there's going to be a lot of other context that comes in here about what cards that you personally should go after, and I want to touch on some of those scenarios. Number one, understand that the Calder nominees from this season will have their tiers all the way up to 96 unlocked. That means that Matvey Mitkov, who is all but guaranteed to get a Calder nominee, knock on wood, outside of some horrific injury, as well as Logan Stankoven. They have separated themselves. They are more than likely guaranteed to get that nominee spot. Now, the last one, it could be argued that Lane Hudson might get in there. I personally, of watching all of the Sharks games, think that Macklin will go on a run. He is the best rookie. I apologize, but I know his performance hasn't matched Mitkov, who is an incredible player. If you listen to other pundits and experts in the league, when they watch Macklin, he is a difference maker, thank God. He will go on a run, and in my opinion, I think he will get into at least the nominee stage. And that is important because if you invest now, you at least get a shot if you went with two of those players, and they will have their tiers unlocked. You will need to pay for those tiers, however. For anyone that did not play last year in NHL 24, this worked the exact same. So Connor Bedard's card came out at, I believe, an 87 overall. And then as you see here, once the Calder nominees happened in June, he unlocked all of his tiers, and you had to pay power-up collectibles to get him all the way up. So the cost was quite expensive, but at least you had the option to get all the way up to 96. And then obviously when he won, you will get 99. Again, because there is a cost involved that is quite expensive, but just given the progression of this game, I don't know how many 99s there are going to be when they actually release the awards, because, again, progression is so slow this year. I think this might be a sneaky way to at least guarantee yourself some high 90 cards, and you get some for free if you do all of the chores to get the free things in NHL 25. Now, if you are someone that is not going to play until June or the summer months, and you just want to play with the best team possible right now, I would trade in whoever to get Mathew Barzal. Again, if you don't have any interest in any of these players, let's say you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, you might as well trade those two in. Again, at least you can earn one, and then you'll get Mathew Barzal, who is going to be your number one right-handed winger. The other question I have gotten is, what do I do if I have a lot of great right-handed wingers? You've got Team of the Week McKinnon, Panarin, Jack Eichel. I would still make this card, and the reason is because even if they come out with more great right-handed wingers, at 83 faceoffs, you can get away with playing him at center. I just think that because of the lineup flexibility and the fact he's the best skater in the game, you would just be missing out if you were in the opportunity to actually be able to make him. Like if you did not do the week 1 objectives and you would have to pay 286s to get Mathew Barzal, I'd, have some reservations about that. But I still think that anyone leaving this event and you have all of those resources available to you, this is going to be one of the better cards. The other thing you might want to consider is to just do the objectives as well and then keep the 81s and 83s. So, for example, if you're not going to be able to make Mathew Barzal, or maybe you really don't want him, and you don't really have any interest in keeping any of the Master Set player items or using them because none of them are amazing, they're good, not great in my opinion, what you could do is at least get the objectives done or moments done, have the 83s and save them for future events like Team of the Year or whatever, because those cards are actually going to be quite useful, and they are quite expensive in the end. So I hope this helps make your decision on what to do with this event. As always, please make your favorite players from your favorite teams. I'm doing it myself. I'm making 3 players from this event, and in all honesty, like I mentioned in this tier list, none of them are must-haves. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.